Thanks again to Coach Eric Martins. We're getting back into some Kings talk here. And man, oh man, we have a couple different notes from Keegan Murray's interview with the morning show. And we have a couple different notes from Scott Perry, who we spoke to yesterday morning. And we got, Kyle got thrown right back in the pool. Haven't been on the air for 3 weeks. Sit down. I'm not going to lie. I thought I might get warmed up with, you never know what's going to happen, number one. But I thought I might get warmed up with maybe a two-way guy or maybe one of the rotation guys. I see Scott Perry mosey on over. And then I think for sure, okay, he's going to the morning show. And then he sat down, and I think they might have given him to us. I think that was a solid that they did. I can't confirm or deny, but based on the rest of their roster, then they said, hey, Allen, we're going to talk to Scott Perry pretty often. Why don't you go ahead and take him? So I'm very appreciative, Chris Verlade, if you're listening. But I got thrown right back in the pool. And thank you, Kyle. We had our questions all ready to go. And it was a very, very interesting conversation with Scott Perry. And we're going to get to what he had to say. But first, let's hear from Keegan. He had a couple different sound bites from Media Day. And a lot of people were trying to figure out what he meant by this, as he said, this is the first year that there are no strings attached. Here it is.
Especially with Scott and Doug, they just have full faith in me to do whatever I can do on the court. So it's the kind of first year I've kind of had no strings attached and things like that. So I'm excited to implement everything that I worked on this summer and get going.
Again, the theme of the day for yesterday, for me and everyone that I spoke to, and I didn't even speak to Keegan, but honestly, this is my first time hearing it, but transparency. Now, can we try to diagnose what Keegan meant by no strings attached here? Do you have an initial thought, Kyle? Because I do.
Well, okay, first to your point, there were like 15 interviews and multiple ones. Most fascinating person all day was Keegan. Mm-hmm. Like the whole 9 minutes he did with the media.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
But to the no strings attached point, I understand what he meant in year one a little bit in last year, given that DeRozan was coming in and they were kind of asking him to change his role a bit. But what is the easy thing that people have diagnosed is what was the difference between this year and the 3 years before, and it's the coach, and he specifically mentioned Scott and Doug, so maybe they were trying to put him in a box before more than it feels like now.
Yeah, and you can look at this offensively and defensively, because defensively, we talked about Isaac Jones and Dario Saric just having more fours on the team, but they didn't go out and get a four that's going to prevent Keegan from having to defend as much as he did last season. I guess you could argue with Keon slated to play more with the addition of Nick Clifford, maybe they're saying, even if you're going to be our number 1-4 defensively, you're not going to have to run around. I always joke, you're not going to have to guard Draymond one possession and Steph Curry the next. You're not going to have to do that anymore, right? And having Jake LaRavia, I think, helped Keegan a lot. My thought process is just that. Offensively, we just want you to go out there and ball and do you. The post-ups that we talked about, that we joked, we're not going to have these conversations anymore. The post-ups, Keegan, just go out there and do what you need to do. And maybe there was a conversation even with the DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Hey, we all know Keegan needs to get going offensively in order for us to take the next step. Then defensively, hey, we continue to bring in guys that can defend, we feel, at a high level. You're not going to be running around everywhere, right? You're going to have to guard the 4. Sometimes you're going to have to guard the 3, but we're not going to have you guarding guards anymore. So you can focus more on starting to specialize where you're at. So I thought that was something, again, unprompted. All these guys were saying all this stuff unprompted. Clean slate, felt like a weight had been lifted off of them. Kyle, let's get to what Keegan had to say about his goals for this season and what he wants to shoot from three-point range, and also an actual award that he is shooting for. Here it is.
Yeah, get back to 40% from 3, and then try and get on the most improved list. Obviously, you gotta win games to be the winner of that. But that's one of my goals this year.
There you have it from Keegan about wanting to be the most improved player, or at least be on that list. We got one more from Keegan, and then we will get to what Scott Perry had to say. And the note on what Keegan did say was De'Aaron Fox, that relationship, Uncle Keegs, and how things have just kind of changed a little bit. And that's how it happens in this business and in any business. You have your mentor or whoever it is that ends up leaving a team or leaving your job, whatever it is. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I'm kind of on my own now. And it happens to everyone. You're going to look around and you're going into your 4th year now. Yeah, it was nice that you had that relationship, but now you're married now. You might have your own baby Keegans running around soon. It's time for you to kind of take that next step, and I think that's what we're starting to hear and see from Keegan. The question is, will all of that happen after this season on the Kings or not? So let's hear from Scott Perry when I asked him about the Keegan Murray situation here.
A couple different rumors floating around throughout the summer, and one of the guys walking around that we see is Keegan Murray. Mm-hmm. People keep hitting me up on the text line, on the call line. What's going on with Keegan's extension? Mm-hmm. How much can you share with us about what your plans are for Keegan and where you would like this to go?
Yeah. No. We like Keegan Murray. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to work with him on a daily basis, with practice and those things. That obviously begins tomorrow. But I had a lot of respect for him from afar, just the type of character that he brings to his day-to-day life. I mean, he's the kind of person you want in your organization because he's about the right things. He's a hard worker. He's about the team. I believe he really likes it here in Sacramento. He's 6'9". He's very versatile at both ends of the floor. So that versatility allows you to do a number of different things with your roster. So we'll continue to get to know one another, and hopefully we figure out a way that he's going to be here with the Sacramento Kings long term.
Am I tripping?
Are you tripping?
I know I've been on this for a while, and he being very honest, Scott Perry, as he always is, haven't gotten to work with Keegan as much as they'd like to, and that all starts, he said, today. I would not be surprised if Keegan hits restricted free agency. And I don't know why, just the way, and I get it, you have to talk like this, you have to keep things very generic, I get all that, but it is very non-committal, which is smart, but also he is the only guy like this on the team. I just don't know how coy you have to be when you don't have another Keegan Murray on this team. But with that being said, what I took from his answer is we like the idea of Keegan. We have to see if it's the best decision for us and vice versa.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Just for context on the I haven't gotten to work with Keegan, Keegan said in his big presser with everyone, which again is the most fascinating of anyone, which I know is funny because it's Keegan, but Keegan said so many interesting things. But he left Sacramento the entire summer from like May until the wedding. He was out of town, and he said that was the first time he'd ever done that. His last 2 summers, he had been in Sacramento the whole time. So Keegan went away basically to work out this summer, which I think was he talked about like a fresh perspective for him at this point in his career. So maybe that's part of the conversation, is that he hasn't been around Sacramento all that much this summer. But I still feel like if you're Scott Perry, you kind of can read the room on what he means to this team and what he means as a locker room guy. I know it's funny because we think Keegan doesn't talk as much, but Keegan's kind of like one of the leaders on this team now and has kind of been that for most of last season. So I feel like even still you can read the room on where things stand with Keegan.
Should the Kings extend Keegan Murray, or should this be a prove-it season and then you pay him in restricted free agency. Let's keep the conversation going on the other side. 916-339-1140. How are you feeling about the Kings? And do you have any more hope like me after Media Day? Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disaster